Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So I am Ganiyu Idris-The, popularly known as GIA. Um, so Popularly known as GIA. Tonight we'll be having the maiden edition of the Outlier series. So I am okay. My guest is even here. Is the first one, is the first person and the first outlier that will be gracing this. That I will be inviting to come and share his word of knowledge with us. Is UKE ENUN Junior. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. And he's here right now. So Mr. Okay, I welcome you to tonight's Outlier series. And Mr. Abdulrahman, you're also welcome. So please, if you can hear me loud and clear, please just go to the comment section and comment loud. Oh, I can hear you. If you can hear me loud and clear, please place a comment. Let me know that you can hear me. Please, if you can hear me, go to the comment section and indicate that you can hear me loud and clear. Hello. Please, if you can hear me, go to the. Oh, thank you. Temidayo, you are welcome. Abdurrahman, you are welcome. Salahuddin, you are welcome. Oh, in fact, my honorable boss is here. Okay, so we are expecting more and more people to join. Oh, thank you. All Fat Homes, you are welcome. So, Dari, you are welcome. So, I welcome all of you once again. So, I'm Gani Idris Adedayo, popularly known as. So, Esther Omonigo and Nehemiah Omar, you are all welcome. So, my humble boss is here. So he's the first person I deem it fit and I deem it worthy to be invited to the Outlier series. So why do I deem it fit to invite Enon? So I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Enon, okay.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I find him worthy to be invited to the maiden edition of the Outlier series because he is someone who is young and who is getting it. You know, in the world of nowadays, it's very, very difficult to see someone who know what to do, know the right thing to do, and who is in the midst of the right people. And upon that, who make good use of the resources at hand to be doing great things. So my honorable Oga at the top, Enun, you are welcome to the Outlier series. And many of my girls, many of my people, they will be very, very much interested in your story and they will be inspired by your story. So please, I want you to introduce yourself to the entire audience.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is, amazing. Thank you for the opportunity and the platform. I really appreciate you, Idris. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everyone who has joined in. Hello to everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine and everyone is doing great. My name is Uke, and how would I describe myself? I mean, I could easily be different things to different people, but for the purpose of this, please signal if I'm good.
They can hear you. Can hear you.
Okay, you can. Oh, fantastic, great. So, yeah. So I was introducing myself. Yes. So I was saying that for the purpose of this conversation, right? I see myself, and I will describe myself as a creator, right? As a product creator, and one of the things I'm really proud of in that regard is Move Funds, the CEO, a product that we created because I'm one of the co-founders that we created to be able to have African businesses, entrepreneurs, remote workers, and the likes be able to globally receive payments, right? So for the purpose of this conversation, just that's how best I would describe myself. Maybe in some of the conversation that we're going to have, I would be another version of myself, right? But today, that's who I am.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right now, many people are wondering that who is this person? They are wondering maybe you are old or you are young or please will you do us the grace of telling us your age? Can you tell us your age, sir?
So I mean, I think my baby face gives it all the way, right? I don't think anybody would guess that I'm old. Please, I'm not old. Do not intend to. I can't even look old with this kind of face, right? So yeah, I'm super young, and I'm 22 at the moment. So yeah,
Wow, you are 22 years old. I am
yeah.
so
So
so. I don't know. Well, but I find that I find it so hard to believe with what you have been doing on the digital space, with what you've achieved with your age. Like in 22, I think I was still jumping from library to classroom, classroom to library, finding out to pass my exams. But you've been doing amazing stuff right now by leveraging on the internet. So please, what are the little things you think you've done that you are proud of with your little time on earth? What are the things you think you've done and you are really, really proud of?
that's an interesting question. I think one of the biggest things that I have done really is for myself first, and that is being able to be self-aware at a very young age. Because I know many people expect me to start naming things that were done for other people, but the truth is you can't serve other people with your best self if you have not served yourself, right? So the first thing that I would say that has been the most impactful, you know, so far would easily be the fact that I am able to be self-aware, right, and understand who I am and what I want out of life, right, before I'm then able to contribute that, via any kind of expression. So whether it is through the articles I've written or through the videos I've created, through the classes I've held, through the workshops, through the products I've created, all of those things are only an embodiment of the person, right? So I'm proud to be someone who has taken the time to develop, right, and then be able to leverage that development to then translate it into impact, right, real life impact for other people.
All right. Thank you very much for that. During the last class with John Obidi, during the crossover with John Obidi, in fact, the way you're telling us your story, John Obidi too was like, wow, this young man doing all this thing. Like, he just wish you can just continue telling us what you've done. It's just somebody like John Obidi could be taken in shock like that. I was like, you have to come to this platform to come and tell us your story. So, self-awareness. Exactly. Self-awareness is the beginning of everything in life. Once you know that these are things I want to make out of it, then that's when you are going to know the steps you need to take, the books you need to read, the mentors you need to follow, and the community you need to belong to. So apart from that, if anyone is to be in your shoe now, what advice can you be anyone in your shoe? Like somebody who is just coming up, maybe your age mate or people that are just younger than you. What best advice can you give to them?
Okay, so I mean, I think just like you mentioned, right? I've shared my story a couple of times. Okay, so um, when it comes to passing on a word or two, right, to someone else who is probably looking to find themselves and, like, get something done, with their time here. The truth is, I'd say that you should pay attention to all of the points of leverage that you can gather or build for yourself. So if you're a young person, right, you want to build up as much leverage. I don't think it's conventional advice, so to say, right? But it's something that I've held true, and I think it works, and I know it works, right? So finding great points of leverage, and I'm going to explain that using my story, of course. So now, in 2016, right, I began to study how the internet worked. I began to study how online business worked. I began to study how creating a personal brand and nurturing that personal brand, right, worked in the digital space. And I did that for quite a number of, and of course I still do that till this day, right? But the truth is, along the way, right, I was able to meet people, learn about technologies, and connect in communities that got me here. So you just can't live an isolated life. For instance, if you're
Wow.
someone that says you want to leverage the internet to build something of value, right? You want to, and now this point of leverage I'm talking about basically is things like communities, skills, right, that I mentioned, and of course people, right? So if you're connected to the right people and you're spending time learning the right skills, the truth is many people who, well, not many people because I don't really have the data for that, but the people who, say that, oh, hey, they're interested in this internet thing. They want to shine. They want to do something really awesome, right? But, when I ask, okay, so what are you currently good at? In what way can you currently contribute to what is going on online, right? Because when you come online, there's billions of people, right? So, and if you want to be known for something, if you want to mark and carve your own space, right, you want to be intentional about how then you deliver that. So which is why it's important that as a young person, you focus a lot on leverage points. Leverage points are things that will get you, that will serve as platforms for you, right, to scale whatever other grand idea that you may have in future. The truth is, your life would always evolve. Personally for me, right, what I'm doing, the things that I'm involved with and doing today are not things that I really would have thought about doing in 2016. But all of the things I began to do from then on to this point, the past 6 years, have led up to this moment, right? So finding points of leverage is very important. It's really important, and I'm very big on skills as one of the greatest leverage points, because if you're super sophisticated skill-wise, right, there's a lot of things that you can do. You can cut your learning curve in half in so many ways, and also cut a huge amount of cost it would have taken you to do a particular thing that's probably costing others money. For instance, let's assume that you began to develop web design skills. That simply means that you can translate that skill into building your own personal website for your personal brand. You would not necessarily have to hire somebody. I'm not saying you shouldn't hire people that are competent to do stuff, but what I'm saying is that in the initial stages, and this is in the context of being a young person now, the initial stages, very points of leverage you need to pay attention to are skills, people, communities. Those three things are very powerful. Skills, because why I say skills first is because you want to be valuable upfront. So you want to come to the table with value. You don't want to come looking like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, right? Because many people won't tell you, but the reason why they don't really are not able to derive as much value, both ways from an existing relationship, whether it's online or offline, is simply because you're not bringing, enough value to the table. And the best way to solve that is to make yourself sophisticated, right, with skills. So that's what I would say. I would say find points of leverage. Very important. Skills, communities, people. Build them aggressively.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. You said you started venturing to online in 2016. 2016. That's like 4-6 years ago. I bet that get 5 years ago. That's so huge.
5-6 years ago.
That is so huge. Wow. In fact, please, what really made you to be like, oh, I really need to get this skills? I mean, there will be a particular pain or particular push point that make you venture into online skills. What really make you venture into online?
Okay,
So
Fantastic question.
because
Fantastic.
you could have done several things. You could have go offline. You could have entered some other business. But what actually was the pain point? You know why I started digital marketing? Because I just want to do things. I like doing things with computer, and I just met a guy during my NYC, and the guy gave me a source copy written by Toyo Motoso. Toyo Motor Show, and wow, they just prompted my ideas. Maybe your own is different. And I myself, I've made up my mind that I don't want to do an office job. I want to be my own boss, do things by myself, and employ staffs. So, what's your own story? What made you venture into online out of several opportunities?
Okay, so I mean, this is a very funny story. I don't tell this often, but I have to tell it here. So, in 2016, I had a Twitter account. Now, I had created this Twitter account. I had it for about 2-3 years before. Can't really exactly remember the number. But this Twitter account only had 40 followers at the time. And
Wow.
I had that 40 followers for the longest time. And I felt, at some point, I felt really a bit frustrated that, you know what, I mean, I've been on this thing for years now. How is it possible that I do not have I do not have more than 40 followers? Now, if you ask me what I would do with what I was planning to do with more followers, for instance, on Twitter, I obviously didn't have a reason, right? I just needed more,
Wow.
probably social media validation there. So I decided to try out a tool that was going to, I read this website. They said, oh, hey, if you come here, you put in your Twitter username, you're going to have followers in like minutes and stuff. So I decided to try it out. What's the risk? So I did try it out. But funny thing is, followers came. Nobody say followers no come. Followers came, right? But as followers were coming, followers were also leaving. And then I began to see them, and then they were like tweeting out spam tweets and stuff like that. Things that completely went beyond my control. So there was absolutely nothing I could do, and that led to me losing the account. So I went from being frustrated that I had 40 followers to having 0, losing my Twitter account at the time.
Wow.
So, it was just, I had reached the height, and I was just like, I'm done, So I said, well, okay, to pacify myself and just make myself feel good a bit. I had learned a few months back, I had learned how to use Canva. So there was this training that was organized, and then I joined the training, and I learned how to use Canva to make, very simple designs. If you scroll my Instagram, I believe some of those early quote designs, quote graphics are still on my Instagram. If you scroll, way, down there. So I decided to make like, very encouraging quote graphics to tweet, and they were basically just meant for me, nobody else. So I got on Canva, I began to create this quote graphics. I put up, very encouraging text, and then I'll go tweet it out, right? So I'll go tweet it out, and then there was this guy who, he saw it, and he was based in the US. Is not just was. So he saw it and was like, oh, hey man, I like the stuff that you're tweeting, right? You should go check out this person, and probably go look at this. And so like he pointed me to like a few resources, yeah. So I said, okay, cool. Like, that makes sense. So I then went and checked out the person that he said I should go check out. And then I looked at the profile, and I saw that this dude was like 14 at the time and was like killing it with like social media,
Wow.
video editing, a couple of other digital skills at the time, right? And I was really inspired. I was inspired, actually, like beyond inspired. That night, I think that was the night that I was done with secondary school. I think that night I said, listen, Amo, like this is the end. I have to level up. And it was funny to me because I didn't even see it from the perspective of, oh, hey, this person is in the US. This person is not in the same geographic space as I was, and it's not even, private to the kind of resources that I had at the time. All of those things were not even factors to me. I didn't even consider them, right? So I made it a mission to get super skilled. And so the very next day, I created this Facebook page. Was it a Facebook page or a group? I think it was a page. Yes. And I began to learn how to write. So I began to learn how to write online pieces, articles, and things of that nature, right? So I wrote consistently for months, right? And then I got my first Android phone at the time in August 2016. I think it was 1st of August. So I said to myself that when I get a phone, the first thing I was going to do was make a video, and I'm going to learn how to do video editing from there. And so, I did make a video, right? And I posted this video online. And And so I posted this video online. I think it was on my page again. And then also at the time, I had joined the Smart Big Camp community in Noun Head, South Africa, right? Someone, referred me to join the community too as well. Yeah. So when I posted that video, I think 1st of August, John Obidi saw the video, right? And then he reposted it in his group, in the group chat, sorry. Not group chat, in the Facebook community. So, and then after a while, right, I began to get a ton of notifications on my phone. Like, I was wondering what happened. Like, I mean, I just created a simple video. What did I do? I was really scared. Like, did something go wrong? And then I came online and I began to see that, people were like very appreciative of the video. It was a simple video that was talking about resourcefulness versus resources, and how you should try to be resourceful with what you have without necessarily waiting for everything to like fall in place. So that was what happened, right? So I mean, that was really the start of it, and then at some point, at some point, I began to study all of the new people that I began to connect with within Head South Africa and other communities that I belong to. And there was something I identified in most people who were performing. They had skills. They were skillful. And when I say skillful, not just randomly skillful, like, oh hey, I know how to do X. They were highly skillful in the sense that they had the skill and they knew how to translate that skill into value.
Right? Are you talking? You said those you met on the platform. I want you to outline the platform. You mean those you met on South Africa community?
Yes.
Okay, you mean they are skillful. I want you to leave emphasis on that. So okay, you can continue now. You meet those you met on Smart Big Camp, owned by John Obidi, which is not formally called South Africa. They actually add value to your life because they are basically very skillful. All right, thank you.
Yes,
sure. You can continue, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, I noticed that, and I was like, okay, cool. So I have to learn how to move from just this writing thing that I'm doing to becoming skillful in other areas. So I began to create what I call a skill stack, right? So a skill stack is basically you taking what you've learned to leverage that to learn another thing. So remember, I mentioned that I began to learn a little graphic design then with Canva. So I took that and began to learn a bit of web design because, I was just translating the skills from one point to the other, right? So I began to learn things like web design, social media, YouTube, video editing. So all of these things began to come more natural to me, and they were like falling in line because they were interrelated. So if you knew about social media, then somehow when you figure out how to advertise online, that could also be a plus, right? So all of these things began to come together, right, and form a robust skill stack across technology and marketing for me, right? And I began to leverage them even more from there. So that was like the story from like being frustrated about my Twitter account, losing the Twitter account, creating a new one, and then just deploying my skills and then opening myself up to a new network. And you have to understand, the internet is abundant, right? When you create stuff and put it out there, you are exposing yourself to, and when I say exposing, I mean positively exposing, at least if you're creating something that is positive, right? So you're positively exposing yourself to people who can push you onto the next thing, because there's so many things that you might be limited to, but a lot of other people, that is where their limits even just begins, right?
Wow.
And they can open you up to these things but if nobody knows you, if you're obscurity is it's a terrible thing. You don't want that if you're somebody that wants to leverage the internet to build something of value, right? So you don't want to be obscure. You want to put yourself out there, and of course, try to make connections that are powerful enough to get you to the next thing that makes it worth it. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You can see I pay very rapt attention because I don't want to miss any part of your story. Actually, you mentioned something about personal development and self-discovery, that it has actually helped you a lot because being frustrated just with 40 users on Twitter until you 40 followers on Twitter until you entirely lose the account, until you join the Smart Big Camp. And you don't just only join the Smart Big Camp, I mean the South Africa community owned by John Obidi. You don't just only join it as being a silent member. You join it and you add value to the member of the group. And due to that, value now come back to you in return. That's when you now meet highly skillful people. Because you said you did a video and the first video you did, you were receiving lots of comments, and you know that will motivate you to do more. That would be like, if I
Yeah.
can just do a video that's meant nothing to me, I can just do the video and post it on the group, and people are coming to my inbox and sending things or messages like this. I think if I can just go a little bit deeper, more and more people will also come for me.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me. I joined Smart Big App in probably 2019 or 2020. So in 2016, I didn't know any group like that existed. Because that's the power of information. Because and you also said you didn't limit yourself to designing graphics. You find a way to add more and more skills. If not because you are telling me that you know how to design graphics with Canva, I wouldn't have believed. Everything I know about it is just go nomad or move on to Africa. So thank you very much, thank you very much, and thank you very much. So I actually tell people that there are two things that actually help us in life: the information you have at hand, the people. Okay, three actually: the information you have at hand, the people you know. I mean, the community you belong to, and the knowledge you
Yeah.
possess. That because the knowledge
Yeah.
you possess will actually help you. But the
Yeah.
information you have is what will lead to the right knowledge you have to go and get.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
people you know will connect you to all the necessary things, maybe by referral or maybe by makings. But upon that, those two factors are very, very important. And with the story
Yeah.
you just said now, it means you leverage on all the three. But presently now, because this your skin is not skin of somebody who you say hustling, just see hustling. Like, what do you currently do? What do you currently do? Which values are you now adding back? Because I know you are a value adder, you add values to other people's life. So what do you currently do right now? So please tell us what you do.
Okay, awesome. So right now I'm chasing some really grand visions, right? I'm at that point where, and like I said, right, humans evolve, right? So I have evolved into this person that now wants to create platforms, right? Create globally recognized platforms that serves such a huge amount of people, right? And in one of those ways that we're doing that is, for instance, if you last year I interacted with, and I'm going to use a story to lead up into what I do. Right? So last year I interacted with hundreds of business owners, hundreds. And when I mean hundreds, hand to hand, right? And a lot of them were complaining about things like um, being seen a certain way globally, being blocked from accessing certain global services, right, as entrepreneurs as they were. And that didn't make much sense to me. I mean, personally, I had experienced a good version of that, right? So I became obsessed with what it took to build an international business last year. Last year was 2021, right? Yes. So I became super obsessed with all that it took to build a global business. Okay, so how do you build a business that doesn't have barriers, doesn't have chains right around you? How do you build a business that gives you access to certain things that certain regions, would naturally not have access to? And I mean, facts are facts for a reason, and the truth is always the truth for a reason. So, for instance, a new technology comes up today in the business world or for businesses, right? The first thing that you will find is that it is readily available to entrepreneurs in the US, in the UK, and some other prominent regions. But the first thing you also find out is that there is a wait list for entrepreneurs in Africa to join to figure out when it's going to to get notified when it's going to launch in their region. And the truth is, for the most part of these things, 90% of these technologies do not ever launch here,
Africa,
right?
wow.
Right? And
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't sit and just complain that, oh, hey, woe, it's us, we don't have access. No, you have to go find it, right? You have to go create, it. And so that led me into understanding the fundamentals of concepts such as non-resident um, incorporation or non-resident business. So what that means is you as a Nigerian, you as a Senegalese, you as a South African, you as a Kenyan, you as a Ghanaian, Rwanda, wherever you are from, right? You can take what you do right now and incorporate it in first world countries, which then gives you access to most of all of these first world technologies that I'm talking about, right? For instance, let's assume that you want to build an e-commerce store that would be able to accept payments from countries like the US, Canada, and the likes. The truth is you have very limited options using most of the local services. But when you incorporate that company, that e-commerce company, for instance, in a country like the US, what that gives you access to is globally recognized payment platforms such as Stripe, for instance. Now with Stripe, you can connect your e-commerce store and you are able to receive payments, international payments, hassle-free, right? And you have access to all of your data and just so much more. So all of that limitation is completely taken away. And most people do not even understand that it is so, the leverage that comes with non-resident incorporation, for instance, is just completely powerful. Most people, trust me, most people they do not understand, probably because they don't have enough information about it yet. But the truth is, it is one powerful solution that African entrepreneurs have to take a look at. And it is not a hack. If you listen, you notice that I'm calling it a solution because because we have so many limitations around Africa, we have so many barriers, so many fences. We are used to finding a hack. Okay, what is going to work today that will not work tomorrow? How can I just quickly hack around this thing? Those things do not last, right? They are not scalable. Okay, so you want to put your eye on the ground to look forward to scalable solutions that work for you for as long as possible. Incorporating your company that is also incorporated in Nigeria, for instance, in the US, right? It's a legal entity. You can walk into the US anytime and you have a business, you have your legal certificate. So it's a solution, right? And that then opens doors for you that would naturally or normally have been closed, right? And now, all of these things that I discovered, we packaged it into a product called Go Nomad Africa, right? And I think I saw Go Nomad's handle here joining this live. Go Nomad's handle was here, but you can just click on my bio if you want to learn more about it. The website is
Go Nomad Africa, be?
Yes, GONOMAD.Africa. So the name inspiration comes from the nomad lifestyle, right? So to be a nomad means, having the freedom to be, everywhere, to operate from anywhere, right? So going nomad, taking your business and operating it, anywhere in the world that you please. So we're unlocking a lot of countries right now. We have the US, we have the UK, open. You can incorporate businesses there, do business there. There are other countries coming down in the pipeline, really soon. And it's just really exciting to see a lot of African entrepreneurs having the freedom to do business globally, right? And not having to be restricted to one wait list or the other, right? These things are the way they are, but there are always solutions for them if we look hard enough, right? And so that was one thing that I really spent the bunch of last year doing and putting together. And now it's fully ready. And, we have a lot of people exploring that option already. So if you want to check it out, just go to gonomad.africa. I think the link is in the comments. If you have questions about it, you can as well send me a DM. Now,
all right.
That wasn't all.
Okay, continue.
So I didn't stop.
All right.
So
okay. Anyway, I think I'm looking at a future billionaire. Or are you not? I think I'm looking at a future billionaire because one of the best ways to make money is just to find solutions to people's problem. And you are not just finding solution to problem of Nigerian or problem of the people in your village or problem of people in Lagos. You are finding a global solution to all the problem people face generally, particularly Africans to other country. I remember that people will always want to buy my courses or some of the training I'm doing. But they'll be like, I'm in Ghana, I'm in US, I'm this, and I can't make payment. But with your solution now, anybody can sell their wares, their product, their courses in Nigeria, and it can be purchased from any part of the world, any part of the country. And they can also walk up to America, this country, as somebody who have an already existing business. Oh, thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. But do you know one thing that still gets me, that still make me to be so shocked or to be, it's just that your level of information, your level of knowledge is just so different from an average 22 years old Nigerian. Do you get it? Once again, what was the secret behind that? Because believe me, but when I was 22, I still collect pocket money from my parents. Like I still, but Abasisi said something. Said, "Oh, you will be 5 years ago." This determined by the kind of book you read, or the kind of people you work with. Please, what makes you to be different from an average 22 years old Nigerian? What is the secret? Please share the secret with us.
So, um, thank you for the kind words, right? So, I think what makes me me, right, is, I mean, there's a lot of things, right? There's obviously a lot of things, but self-awareness, like we can't take that out of the equation, right? So no, I mean, no one is saying that at 22 you need to have life figured out. Nobody has life figured out. But if your life is depending on how self-aware you are and what your North Star is, what your long-term vision for your life is, right? Figuring that out early really helps, trust me. When you do, it just sets you on a different path entirely. And I'm not sure if it's something that is really hard to do or easy to do, but it's worth it to do. That I know, right? So figuring out yourself early enough. Listen, you would still make a lot of mistakes. Figuring yourself out rather than knowing what you want to do. I mean, really, is this really all that I'm going to do? No, there's still a lot more, but you will evolve, right? But you will not evolve if you do not have that self-awareness to understand that, listen, I am built to be able to create value in the world. I am built to be able to provide solutions in the world. And when you have that understanding, that leads you on to creating, that leads you on to doing, that leads you on to producing the results that you want to see. So at every point in your life, you're focused on one or two things. Like your head is in a particular direction. Now, if that aligns with what your true core is, fine. If it doesn't, then you have to change and fix it, right? So for me, understanding that at the end of the day, I really want to build things that just solve a lot of problems. And for me, growing up in and being very close to the business space, I have a spot for entrepreneurship, right? And so I'm always thinking of ways to make business simpler. So I'm always thinking of ways to make the lives of business owners, freelancers, entrepreneurs in that regard simpler, right? So it only just makes sense that I'll come up with solutions like this with my team because we are immersed in the vision. I posted something on my story yesterday. I am immersed in great visions, right? And there's a reason for that. Yes, it is not normal. Who says it is? It's not meant to be. If it's normal, everybody's going to be able to do it, right? So if you want to be an outlier, right? We're on the Outlier show, are we not? If you want to be an outlier, right? Then there are things that have to make you stand out as an outlier. And you will not have the normal routines of normal people. Why would you expect to have the normal routines of normal people? You said you wanted to be an outlier. You said you wanted to be different. And so this path has its own finishing. It has its own lane, right? And so if you must choose it, then you must choose it with all the commitments that comes with it. Because
thank you very much.
There would be, the path is littered with gold and thorns too. So your ability to understand yourself enough to realize that is what you're signing up for, and being able to go down that path regardless and forge ahead because you see a great vision at the end of it, right? Because it takes a lot to care about a demographic. It takes a lot to care about a group of people to want to solve for them. I mean, creating products is good, right? But most of these things still tie back to the core of, do I care enough? Is this something that I'm interested in enough, right? And the core foundation is self-awareness. We don't have enough self-aware people, probably. So
can I ask a question on that?
Yeah,
I want to ask a question about that. Self-awareness, is a journey, not a destination.
journey.
And
Yes.
some are very lucky, or let me say, some are very good to discover themselves, to be self-aware early on time. Why some they are still trying to figure themselves out. Not that they are not trying, but they are still keeping up to figure themselves out, trying several things. So, do you have probably a blueprint to make someone become self-aware, or if you want to become a self-aware, these are the things you need to follow, these are the steps you need to do, or these are the books you need to read. Is there a particular guideline you can give us on how to become self-aware? Because your success story, you're being an outlier tonight, I missed 200 million Nigerian, is because you are self-aware on time. So what blueprint can you give to people watching the an outlier on how they can become self-aware? Thank you.
Okay, so there's what are we now? 7.5 billion or 7 plus billion people on the planet. The truth is there's no blueprint to making all 7 billion people have self-awareness.
Wow.
But because we often default into seeing these things and these concepts, self-awareness and a whole lot of other things that we talk about, we often default into seeing them as states, right? We think that there has to be a plan towards it. There shouldn't always be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But in the process of your doing, right, and just being and just living out a valuable life, these things begin to connect. So, for instance, if you say that you want to be somebody who is valuable, then understand that one of the things that valuable people have is skills. I mentioned this earlier. So you go start finding skills. You go start upskilling yourself, right? You won't sit in a place and say, oh, hey, I wish I can be so self-aware to be skillful in this, that. You would go start something. Many people are stuck. They are waiting for the plan. Nobody's coming to give you the plan. There is no 7-step process. You have to start. You would figure out your own process. Yes, there are things that you can do that will be helpful, but you would have to start somewhere, right? So whatever your own thing is, whatever you hold dear enough, right? Start in something related to it. Okay.
Wow.
I mentioned skills, right? That's one thing that I know that would always remain tried and true over time. So if you care enough about something, maybe you really feel that this particular thing is something that really, really interests you, then start building skills around that space. It only just makes sense that it connects over time, right? It will only just make sense that it connects over time. So there's no exact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You are unique.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much on that. So, some people of great personality just joined the live session. So, my honorable boss at Raymond Okmani, you are welcome. We are very delighted to by seeing you here tonight. And Utibe, you are welcome. Niger Sales Mistress, you are welcome. Kane Natural, you are welcome. Abdurrahman, Gifts Based, and the likes, you are welcome. Thank you very much. So, based on what you just said now on being set away, I so much cherish your honesty. You just say it like as simple as it is and as truthful as it is. There is no particular blueprint to make someone to be safe away. The first thing is just anything you think you want to become in life, just set out, just start wherever you are. By being starting out, little dots will be connecting. Before you know it, people will be bringing more opportunities to you. Before you know it, your eyes will become open, not just by sitting down and you want manna to fall from heaven. It doesn't happen that way. I've seen people transitioning from a low skills to a very high skills. They didn't just get there in a space in just a few days. They didn't just get there by just hoping, by wishing, by doing nothing, but by starting out to do a little things before his greater things now come their path. I studied biochemistry in University of Ilorin. I never see myself as somebody who will become a business person and entrepreneur. But one thing I know is just that I won't live a life of maybe the country, maybe if Nigeria has been good in just to complain about things bad. No. I always find the best around. So and before you know it, now I'm a seller, I'm a salesman, I'm a marketer. I studied biochemistry. For me, biochemistry with head full of pathways, full of this and that, to totally become a salesman, it's not a day's job. So to all our audience and our viewers, wherever you are, with the little you have at hand, just step out. That's one of the way to become self-aware. That's one of the way to connect the dots. heaven was not made in a sorry, no man is made in a day. Nothing was made in a day. But along the line, every does we start to connect with each other. So the question I want to ask you right now is just that there is something we call the Nigerian factor. Nigerian factor will always set in pace. No light, poor network. The governments are not coming up and the likes. But rather than for this Nigerian factor to discourage you, I think it's give you more energy. It's make you to become stronger. So how have you been coping with Nigerian factor? Because if you have people that are doing illegal jobs today, that are into fraud or some other things, what they will say is just that it's because of Nigeria. It's because Nigeria is bad. But despite that Nigeria is bad, several people are succeeding because that's just my major aim of starting out the Outlier series. Believe me, I actually tell people that I've met enough brilliant minds, young brilliant minds in Nigeria to believe that Nigeria will become better, Nigeria become good again. You get me? I've met young billionaires, young millionaires, young scholars, young everybody. And we are still in the same Nigeria. But these are still the same reason why people are doing illegal things and bad things. So how will you be able to survive despite the Nigerian odds, despite the Nigerian factor? So that's my question.
Okay, great question. So first of all, if I answer that, thank you to everyone who has joined in and is gaining something. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Okay, so to your question, one of the things that you want to accept, or at least one of the things that I accept for myself, whenever you find yourself in an environment that you may describe, that has a lot of odds against you seemingly going against you. So I tell myself that I do not deserve this, and this is not me. This is not for me. So it's not really a complaint that there's no this, there's no that, there's no. I just tell myself that I do not deserve this. What that statement does to me or for me is that it creates more inspiring feeling within myself to then do the things that I need to do to take me to a higher position where I do not get to experience some of the things that I know that I do not deserve. And so I love to demand things from life. And so if I find myself in a place where this is not working and that is not working and this is not working, that is not working, while everybody else says the obvious, which is it is not working, I say, I do not deserve this. If I do not deserve this, what can I do about it? Thankfully, I'm able to do certain things about it, right? And so I go ahead to create the solutions that will alleviate me from such realities, right? And place me on a higher pedestal. It is not easy to do. Yes, I know. You're a programmer, your counterparts abroad are able to program 24/7 if they want. For you don't have that luxury because you have to be programmed within a certain time frame, right? Yes, it's a reality. No one's saying that it is not. But if you don't deserve it enough, what are your options? Your obvious option is not abandoning it and leaving it to zero.
Wow.
Your only next best option is to find a way.
Find a way by all means.
And now, find a way by all means can seem sketchy to some people, but
By all legal means.
this context just has to do with you understanding the reality and figuring out the best way possible you can at least forge ahead. Because making progress is really important.
Exactly.
And you don't want to set yourself back by being dormant and not doing anything. Because the truth is, for realities to change on a larger scale, now this is not something that only you is experiencing. This is something that millions of people are experiencing. And so for that reality to change in a larger scale will take a lot of time. Naturally, will take a lot of time.
Wow.
Do you want to use your life as the time experiments to see that happen? I hear a lot of talk. This will get better. That will get better. This will get better. That will get better. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Wonderful. But I don't think I want to use my life as the guinea pig to test out the time of whether or not that will get better. So I do not have 5 years to borrow, to complain and sit and wait for it to get better. I would rather use that 5 years and at least move one step every day, so that maybe, just maybe, there are chances that within 5 years, my one step every day would have taken me to 100 steps. Compared to if I had just said, okay, no, that is not working, this is not working, let's leave it, they will fix it, right? So for things to change on a larger scale, you have to understand they would always take time in the environment where we find ourselves, right? So,
Wow.
and I don't think that you really want to use your life as the time experiment for that. Let other people do that, okay? Let other people settle for what is only, what has been made only available to them. Let other people settle. You don't, right? You are the one that said you wanted to be an outlier. So that is your call. That is your call, right? Figure it out. That is your call. Okay, do you want to make a partnership happen that would streamline and reduce costs for both of you while two of you are progressing? Maybe, right? For instance, you have the concept of startup hubs, for instance, in Nigeria today, in some Nigerian cities at least, right, where people can come in there, share a co-working space, and get work done. That's an example of somebody thinking creatively to proffer a solution. It may not be the best solution, but it takes you from 0 to 1 at least, right? Yeah. So instead of you sitting at home and saying, oh, hey, there's no, we don't have power, we have power problems, when would they fix it? And then you join a Twitter hashtag to try to drag them, and those things do not even matter. Like they are not,
All right.
we don't move the needle, right? So for things to change, they will take a lot of time. But you don't have that time. You have to move. So figure out the best way you can move and keep moving.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm receiving doses of inspiration here tonight. So with what you just said now, you said rather for someone to be discouraged by the Nigerian factor, the best thing is for someone to make use of the available resources. And my honorable boss just joined the session now. It's the co-founder of one of the fastest growing real estate company in Nigeria and entire Africa. His name is Victor Adeshewa. My honorable boss, my Oga at the top, you are very, very much welcome. Thanks for gracing these occasions, and your presence here actually means a lot for myself, my host, and for everybody listening to this session. Thank you very much. So with what you just said now, you said making use of the available event, because Nigerian factors affect almost the 200 million Nigerians. But despite that fact, we have billionaires in Nigeria, we have scholars in Nigeria, we have highly reputable and iconic people in Nigeria. But these people initially were affected by Nigerian factors, but they figure a way out. They believe that they don't have to follow crowds to be reading newspaper along the roadside and be fighting and be discussing politics. They see beyond that. They work on themselves to make use of the little they have, to the extent that they now become an outstanding individuals today. So you mentioned that you joined some group on Facebook, and because there are some resources that I know that have helped you up to this level. Maybe some individuals, maybe your mentors, maybe the groups you belong, maybe the books you read. Please, can you just share some of the things that you think has individually helped you apart from the group you mentioned? Maybe there are like tens of other groups like that I am not aware of, that my audience are not aware of, or maybe there are some books that we haven't read yet. Maybe there are some silent, that's what makes people to be an outlier. You are the first outlier, for God's sake. You are the first person I'll be invited. Like, despite the fact that you are very busy, your schedule is so tight, I still have to wait that you must be here by force, by fire. So what are the little things you can just share with us that has helped you, resources, groups to join, the mentors you follow on the internet, so that we can also take advantage of that? Thank you.
Okay, so before I answer that, I was going to contribute something to the previous question again. Now, if you notice, when we started this live video, right, my background was a bit this, if you notice. Okay, now it's a bit darker than it was. What does that tell you? Yes, we are all experiencing it. But guess what? There's a ring light that's now powering this for you to at least be able to
Wow.
see my face. Would I turn it? Would I have said, "Oh, hey guys, sorry, say lights no day like this. Something we can do. Oh, it's all dark, and let's call it a day." No, no. What would it cost to set this up, right? So that I can at least show up. Whatever the cost is, I'm going to make it happen, right? So so that's just to add to that, right? To give it more practical example. Yeah, to other things that have contributed. Great question. So I think people underrate YouTube a lot, and that's really like
YouTube? You mean
yes,
YouTube? We want to that we usually go and watch football highlights. Is that another
exactly,
YouTube personally for the outliers? Is that a
exactly.
separate YouTube for somebody like you?
The same YouTube, and the reason I say YouTube is that we are in. Here's one thing you have to realize about the times that we are in. We are in such a distributed time. What that means is we have more people, we have probably millions of people who are distributing knowledge at scale, who are distributing resources at scale. So a lot of people are no longer keeping things within just their little circle. They now have YouTube channels, blogs on Medium, profiles on Twitter, and a couple of other of these platforms. YouTube I love a lot, where you can literally just go and search for almost anything. Whether it's something you want to learn, there is at least a 2 minutes and a 2-hour video talking about the same thing. That's how crazy it is. But then again, you still need to refine your ability to search for things, because while Google and YouTube, for instance, are the largest search engines, they're still the most underrated or underutilized, not even underrated, underutilized search engines. Why? There is how you would go on Google, for instance, to search for something and you wouldn't find it, or you struggle to make sense of the results. But there is a different context in which you would word it as well, and you will quickly find the resource that you're looking for. So are you talking about templates, walkthroughs, guides, PDFs, ebooks, video courses, whatever it is? Somebody somewhere has created some version of it. You just have to go look for it, access it, and make it beneficial to you. So I really don't think that, for instance, here's one thing one thing I recommend to people who are starting out, for instance, most of the time. I say, hey, just go to YouTube, right? Look for this video, right? Watch a short version of it and watch a very long version of it. It's all there for free. Start there. If you cannot make sense of the things that are already free, you have no business making sense of the things that are paid. Wow. Right? So most people, everybody's marketing, everybody's promoting their thing, right? And you may come across something that is paid. No one's saying don't buy paid stuff. I highly recommend it because I buy them myself. But if you're starting out, for instance, right? So that's the context I'm using now. What you want to do first is go and make sense of all of the things that are already out there for free. If you can't do that, most of the time, even though people have different experiences, right? But most of the time, if you can't make sense of those free things, you would have you struggle making sense of the things that are paid, right? So go start out with YouTube. It's one of the powerful platforms out there today, right? And again, the concept of fine print has helped me a lot. Let me explain what that means. So I've talked about living in distributed times, right? And then there's something I love so much, which is called, it's not something I created myself, but it's out there. So fine print, right? Fine prints are the tiny details that people often miss or leave out, right? Or people don't pay enough attention to. Where you can gain a lot of leverage in an industry is by reading the fine prints, committing to figuring out those tiny details, right? Those things that can give you an edge. Most trade secrets are simply built on fine prints, right? Things that people do not want to have anything to do with it. They don't want to learn about it. They don't want to figure it out. Someone else goes to figure it out on their behalf and creates a product around it. That's basically it. So be interested in reading between the lines in consuming enough blog posts and long-form articles about a particular subject, right? Because it's not a fun thing to do, right? Who just wakes up and wants to research? No, I mean, almost nobody, right? It's not really interesting. It's not something that you post on Instagram and say, ah, look at me here doing research, or reading fine prints, right? It's not really something that people do, but you should. Let me give you an example. When we started out Go Nomad, right? Now, most people will think that the front end is just about company incorporation and that's it. That's not all. Reading fine print and doing research will show you something. Now, let me use the Nigerian context now, for instance. If you are trying to, if you're doing a business, if you do business in Nigeria, for instance, now, this is 2022 February. If you go look at what the exchange rate was, comparing the dollar to the naira now in the same month of 2021, you'll notice that there was a huge disparity. Or that there is a huge disparity, right? Now, when you read the fine print and research more about non-resident company incorporation, you will discover that that process can also help put more money in your pocket. It can serve as a means for you to create what is called a foreign currency reserve. I'll explain. Let's assume you do business in Nigeria, you make 100,000 naira in profits every month. Okay? Let's keep the numbers simple, right? Guys, I'm a numbers guy, but we're going to keep it simple. Let's keep the numbers simple. You make 100K profits, no revenue, profit after expenses every month. For 12 months in 2021, that would have been 1.2 million naira, right? 100K times 12. But the truth is that 1.2 million naira, after things like inflation and of course the exchange rate, would not be 1.2 million naira in the market again. It would be worth minus certain percentage. Okay, let's look at the inflation rates. It's like what, 17%? Let's use 15%. That means at least 180,000 naira from that 1.2 million naira is lost in value. No, not lost in, like, the money is in your account reading 1.2 million, but if you take it to the market to use that money to spend on things, you notice that you cannot buy stuff for more than, say, 1 million. Why? Prices have increased due to certain factors, right? Good. Now, the reverse, let's assume that you incorporated your company also in January 2021. For every 100K that you made in profit, you funneled a percentage of that to your business bank account abroad, right? What that will give you is a hedge against the changes in the exchange rate, inflation rate, all of those things. To give you a hedge, because now let's assume that the first month the exchange rate was 400 naira to the dollar. Next month it was 500, right? Now you moving that 100K, converting it to USD and holding it at 400, right? Instead of keeping it, and then now the exchange rate is 500 to the dollar, you've lost even more value, right? That's like what? That's some huge value there, right? So doing that constantly over time protects your money and can even create more money for you, because imagine money that you kept in your reserve, your reserve that you exchanged for, say, 400 naira, now it's 5 something. It automatically is worth more. That dollar is worth more to you. And now this is not a concept that is akin to just small businesses. I would have you know these are strategies used by the largest corporations that you can think of. They all have some version of offshore accounting. So why wouldn't you choose to leverage the same principle, right? If you say you want to build a big business, that's something that you should consider. That is why incorporating abroad is also important, right? So these large corporations, these large enterprises, they have, you don't want to believe that they keep their money in local currencies. No. I mean, for instance, what some of the elite companies, abroad do is they leverage the concept of tax havens. So they set up their business structures in a way where they're able to keep more money in offshore countries where they are taxed at lesser rates. It is completely legal. There's nothing illegal about it, right? It is completely legal. No one's saying that you cannot do it, but if you don't have the information about it, you might not, right? So, but now you do, right? And so these are some of the ways that you can protect yourself. You can protect your business, even grow it, right? Because let's assume this was a practice that you were doing since say 2010, 2015. All of those reserve money becomes worth maybe what 2x, 1x, 1 point something x more, right? So you have to understand the times that we're living in. So these are some of the things that I pay attention to that help me get or have an edge, basically, right? So I love to understand one simple concept. We live in distributed times. Whatever it is that I want to find out about, whatever it is that I want to learn, get better at, there's somebody out there who is creating something related, right? And then whenever I want to build more leverage, get ahead, then I have to understand that it's time to begin to read the fine print. It's time to dig a little bit deeper, begin to research a little bit more. What is one strategy that people are using that people are probably not looking at enough, right? And I just shared one now for you guys, for instance, right? So
Exactly.
I believe that, if you find your own way to implement them, then of course you will definitely see the result.
All right, thank you very much. Like I'm also looking at another business opportunity or a new way to make more money, like right now. So, from what you said, I observed that what the little things that differentiate the high achievers, I mean the outliers from those that are not. It's just that they are able to dig deeper, they are willing to go more further, and they are able to work more harder. They are adding the extra to the extraordinary, and that's divine them to make them to be more better than other individuals. Fine printing, YouTubing. I use YouTube a lot, and from what I've learned from YouTube, like people couldn't believe. As simple as hosting a domain. I will just press it on my this thing on YouTube. I will see like 100 of videos. Before I can watch 10 of the videos, I'm just okay with it. Like
Yes.
when I was starting out in my real estate journey, I was like, who are the forerunners in Nigerian real estate sectors? And I typed YouTube, Nigerian real estate. I watched videos of Ailara, Norland, those that own Veritasi, Sujimoto. Like I was like, oh, these are the type of life they are living. These are the things. So I watched videos on American real estate sectors, Nigerian real estate sectors, on everything. So, but people just realize. I mean, YouTube is one of the biggest in university, and the good thing about YouTube is just that it is entirely free. So and right now I should say something that we, the current generation, we are the most blessed generation, like because we have the internet. And my grandfather died in the early 2000. If my grandfather was told that there will be a particular time whereby people can learn on the internet and they'll be seeing each other like this, or there will be a time where people can be making call and they'll be seeing each other, you will never believe that which kind of witchcraft can make that into the possible. You won't believe. But see what we are doing. We make
Exactly.
money off the internet. We make money off the internet. We make customers. We learn on the internet, and we several all things like that. But the bad thing was just that all these things are so much underutilized. They are so much underutilized. So a particular man, one of the philosophers said, no matter how good a plan can be, no matter how good a map can be, it can be drawn, map of the world, map of Nigeria, map of everywhere. Said that same map will never leave the creator an inch above the ground. This is a map of the way you are going. Just take your leg and walk there. The map, no matter how good, how detailed is it, it won't take you above the ground. So you want to become something, there are resources out there. You can't just sit down and the information will jump onto you. So go to YouTube, use YouTube, dig deeper. If a 22 years old, sorry, sorry for using that age. I don't mean to ridicule you anyway. I don't mean to use but the age just keep on impacting me. I wish I've known all things like this when I was 22, when I was 22 years. So if a 22 years old outlier can be pouring down knowledge like this to everyone, so, and he can be sharing things he has done or things he's doing and how he got from point A to point B and next things he wants to do. And he's also sharing the resources he is using with us. No matter the age anyone is right now, if we follow all these things, I'm sure that we'll be better off than who we are currently. And one promise I made is just that if you can attend the Outlier series, you'll be better off like than those that didn't attend, and you will thank yourself for attending. And I believe that values are being like you are just being loaded with value right now. So please, I know you read books anyway. I want to ask if you read books, but I don't need to ask if I know you read books. Which books can you recommend for us? And which community do you think we should go and join? Like, go and join this community, do like this, join Smart Big Camp, join a during the day work group, join, because what Smart Big Camps have done in my life is not a small thing. Like John Obidi night class, it's itself is more than I've gained so many in John Obidi night class than what I've gained in 4 years of Nigerian university. It's, exactly, because these are things that will make me to stand out. I meet my competitors. So do you get what are the groups we need to belong to, the community we need to belong to, who you think we need to follow on the internet, and the books we should read. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think recommending books is like recommending medicine, and it's not something that you would generalize. So I wouldn't say, oh yeah, go
Exactly.
read that book, go read that book, go read that book. Everything is a case by case basis, right? I still love to think that human beings are unique. So the first question would be, what are you trying to solve for, right? What do you want to learn about? You know, then that will begin to guide you on some of the titles that you might want to check out. And again, when you think about that question deeply enough, then you can narrow your search down to something like, okay, instead of what books would you recommend, you would now say, oh, hey, what psychology development books would you recommend? What business profits boosting books would you recommend? What books on investing would you recommend? Right? So you see, so when you first understand what you're solving for, then you can figure out what books. So I can't really give book recommendations outright, but here's what I can do. Go to this little known website called Amazon.com, right? Look for the
Amazon.com.
book category. But before you go there, write out what you are trying to understand more of or learn more about. Figure that out first. Okay, so what area do you want to learn something about first? Then go to Amazon.com. Search for that title space. So you see a lot of categories, right? Look for that particular category, and then you see books upon books in that space, and then you can pick from, right? You also want to check out book reviews on YouTube after you figured out what books you want to probably learn more of. There's this YouTube channel. I think the name is Ali Abidal. I'm not exactly sure, but you can. He does videos on productivity. He's a medical doctor as well. So Ali Abidal, I think that's the name. I mix it up, but I hope that that is it. So you can go if you figure out what you want to learn more about first, right? Go on YouTube, go and look for what people are saying for books in that space, right? So say books on investing, YouTube, right? You just enter it. People would have already reviewed some books that are relating to that space, and then from there you can just like go on Amazon, go figure it out, and purchase it if you want to purchase it, right? But do not look for free books. That's the only one I'm going to advise. Do not necessarily set out looking for free books or send me the PDF, send me this free book. But not do that one, I beg. Right? Find out first what you want to. Ali Abdal. Oh, thank you so much. So someone says Ali. Owen Robert says Ali Abdal. Thank you so much. Yes. So go. He does a lot of book reviews, right? So you can go search to see if there's anything cool on his channel. But I would still recommend that if you first figure out what you that you can connect with on that, right? Books, very educative and informational books, I share community. So that is it.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very
My pleasure.
much. Like, um, Kai. Well, once again, let me quickly um one of the things that like this outlier series is just a dream come true for me. I initially have that dream last year that I need to just be bringing people to come and educate others people. I'm not where I was yesterday, but this is not where I also wanted to be, but I was not where I was some times ago. So, but the good thing is just that informations have gotten for so free, so free. Like they should worth several thousands of dollars, or they are just so free because of some of community I was opportune to belong to. Some of the people I followed on the internet, I was like, these people they need more eyes, they need more eyeballs. More people need to tap from their wealth of knowledge. I shouldn't be the only one to benefit from it. So possibly there can be a way I can just bring it them by just to come and educate some of the audience, some of my followers and the likes. Maybe more eyes balls can be on them. And believe me, things I've learned from you today, I can't gain it if I've just walked up to you one on one and we're just having a casual conversation. But because on this general level now, you pour out your mind. And Ali Abdul, I may not have come across that all through my entire life, but now I have to go and check it out at the end of the session. So thank you very much for gracing this occasion. Thank you, and thank you once again. And we've spent almost 1 hour and 15 minutes.
My
Wow.
pleasure.
Wow. I just wish you can just continue more and more and more and more. So the question I want to ask right now, have you ever got discouraged? Have you ever been in a situation whereby you regret this, that you regret that this thing happened better? My mate subsidizing buy cars, building houses, like, but we just okay. There's a point whereby somebody be like, I'm not doing enough. This thing I'm doing is it really for me? Should I have been achieving more than this? My friends that even started behind me, or they are doing buying cars, building houses, moving to this. Have you ever been discouraged? And if you have been discouraged, how do you keep on pushing and pushing for the past 4 5 years in this internet journey? So please tell us the secret behind that.
Okay, so that's a great question. I think I respect that question a lot because it's practical. But here's what I would say, and I've thought deeply about this. Self-assessment is a good thing, but community comparison is a terrible thing. I'll say that again. Self-assessment, very welcome, very good. Okay, it helps you make progress, and you want to make progress as a human being. But community comparison never works. Now, how does this apply? So you're thinking, oh, I started this out, with X number of people. X number of people are doing better than me, and on and on and on. Now, when I say self-assessment is a good thing, is because you want to always hold yourself to certain standards. That makes sense. It is just logical. All right. So once in a while, you want to review yourself and say, hey, are you making enough progress as you ought to? Are you doing enough? Those are good questions to ask. But do not ask them within the filter of another person's progress or seeming progress. I'll say that again. Do not ask them within the filters of another person's progress, or better still, seeming progress, because most people just look at people on social media and you assume that they're doing well. Why would you make that assumption? You have no data to back up that assumption, right? So self-assessment is a good thing, right? And being able to ask the hard question is a good thing. If you say, hey, you're not doing enough, yeah, cool. Do enough, start doing enough, start doing more, right? Figure out how you can start doing more. That's good. Okay, so don't let anybody tell you, yeah, you should take it easy and all of that and all of that. I mean, those messages have a lot of context and nuance around them. But the truth is, if you self-assess and you say, hey, I am not doing enough, I don't think I'm doing enough, I don't think I'm doing up to my capacity, and that is on you. That pressure is good enough for you to get yourself up and do more. Okay, nobody has to, you shouldn't leave your shouldn't let everybody else tell you when you should slow down, when you should, pipe it up. And no, it's not by the quotes on Instagram and the tweets on Twitter that, oh, it's been a hard year, let everybody just calm down and chill out. Yeah, you really don't decide for me. So I don't think I would self-assess myself based on what you think has been a good year or a hard year. Or, I mean, if you want to slow down, that's cool, right? If you want to move faster, that's cool, but that should be on you and on your terms. If I'm going to self-assess myself and I say that, and I decide, I verdict, right? I give the verdict that I'm not doing enough. You will not come. I will not give you the ability to come and tell me to slow it down just because everybody's having a bad year. Everybody's year is not my year, right? So where I catch myself lagging, I try to add speed, right? Where I think I'm moving too fast on the thing and I should adjust a little bit, I try to do that. But it is not up for debate, and it is not up for public opinion of when and whether or not I should do a particular thing or act in a particular way. So if you are pressured by yourself, and it has to be good pressure based on self-assessment, not community comparison. It has to be good pressure based on self-assessment. Hey, you are skilled in this thing, XYZ. You have capacity to do ABC. You are not doing this. You should do more. You do more, right? But you have to be oblivious to community comparison. Like, forget what everybody else is doing. Focus on you. But of course, understand how your market and how your industry is moving. That's good. But your comparison should be yourself at the end of the day. Because only you can really look out for you. Nobody else is coming to drag you along and pull you along and say, hey, keep moving. If they're doing that, cool, that's fine. But the truth is, you cannot hold yourself to other. You don't know what their standards are. You don't know what their values are, right? You don't know what they consider as progress. So you can't even align, right? So you're on a completely different path. And so you should always self-assess, right? But please, no community comparison. Self-assessment, good, yes. And it's not up for public opinion or debate. You determine that, and you should know when to move, right? So that's what I would say.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I learned that self-awareness, self-assessment, seeking public opinion, using public opinion to judge your success is a bad thing. Public comparison is a bad thing. And focus, focus on your focus. Should be your goal. If your mates are buying car, you will car. Probably yours will be the latest edition. Probably yours will be the latest in town where you are going to. But just focus. Time people will used to cook beans. Then from the time we used to cook Indomie. That's just the little motivation. I think Indomie will become fast. We become done in a matter of minutes, if not seconds. But beans will take a longer while. But if you eat your bread and beans together, you may not need anything for a whole day. But Indomie, 2 hours, you still want to refill your tummy. So focus on your focus. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have less than 8 minutes to go. Wow, I can't believe that we can spend 1 hour 30 minutes. We have less than 8 minutes to go. So within that 8 minutes.
Something else I think I would add to that.
Okay. So, before you add anything to it, so as you want to add what you want to add to the first that, I also want you to give us a parting word. Once you do that, then you now give us a parting word so that we can actually call it a day. And the replay will be available so that people can still benefit on and on from this highly entertaining session. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I was going to say that results are very unique in their own nature. So for instance, if someone said, oh, hey, everybody who looks like you and is the same age as you is doing a particular thing, e.g., buying a car. Now you ask yourself a question. Is the end goal for you doing what you're doing just to buy a car? So why would you want to be, why would you want to hold yourself back from doing even greater things just because everyone is buying a car and you haven't? Is your goal really just to buy a car and that's what the cap is? Right? So ask yourself these deep questions when you want to ever catch yourself comparing. Okay, they got a house, for instance. All right, cool. Congratulations. But is that what you define as success? If it is, maybe good, fine. But if it's not, you have absolutely nothing to bother about, right? So move in your own dimension, right? Move in what you define as your success. Nobody can define that for you. People might influence you, but they cannot define it for you. You would, at the end of the day, have to define it for yourself. So whatever the right mix is, you would define that. And so you always want to keep that at the back of your mind. Okay. So then to parting words, right?
Parting word. Yes.
Right. So I think, the crux of all that we've been talking about here today has been largely on the foundation of self-awareness, right? So try to be self-aware. It's not easy. It's a progressive thing that you do every day. But most importantly, evolve. Let yourself evolve. Let yourself reinvent. Let yourself reform. Let yourself rebirth. Okay? You will not be doing one thing. The chances that you'll be doing this exact thing that you're doing now for the rest of your life, the odds are really there that you will not be, right? So keeping that in mind means that there's so much room to evolve into a new dimension that will be even way more valuable than your previous self, right? So you always want to commit to finding that new you, to evolving into that new realm that you want to be operating in, right? And it's very important that you keep that in mind as you grow, as you do, right? And don't let yourself stop at any point just because you want to figure out what it is that self-awareness is, and vision and purpose and this and that. No, like, you have to stay moving, right? You have to stay doing and learning and bringing value in the space that you operate. Doing all of these things connects all of the dots, because when you do, when you move, when you learn, you meet people, you join communities, you do things that put you out there, and then somebody has a conversation with you that just radically transforms your imagination about a particular thing and leads you onto a new path that just makes you blossom. It's just how these things work, right? But you have to start somewhere. So these are my final words. Thank you very much.
Wow, 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 wow. You deserve a standing ovation. In fact, this is your parting word is a massive. You have to be self-aware, and the chances that what you are doing currently now will be what is going to land you the big bag. You will still find there will be a time you have to reform yourself, develop yourself, on and on. Don't be rigid, don't be stagnant. Explore more, explore more, explore more. That's how to be an outlier. The world is for you to explore. Don't be stagnant. And believe me, you don't know what you can do until you get started. So, this is a dream come true for me. So, thank you for gracing this occasion on behalf of several outliers that are still in the embryo, because I'm sure several outliers will be birthed through this your masterclass, through this your inspirational message, through this your fulfilled messages and entertaining messages. Several outliers will be born, and some people will say someday. Thank God I was at the Outlier series and I had UKE talking, and I was motivated by his words. And since then, I've been on my toes, and this is where I am today. So, thank you for giving us 1 hour, 30 minutes out of a very tight schedule. So, we pray to Almighty God to continue to be, to continue, and this is not bye bye, but see you again. Thank you. So the replay will be available. People, you can still go and watch the play if you want. And those that missed this session, they can also watch. All right. Thank you very much, and have a great night. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.